So y'all have heard about this massive KvK that's about to happen, right? 8 Imperiums going head to head with each other. This is going to be nuts, but it raises some red flags on my end. Let's discuss what those are. Man, oh man, this is going to be a KvK for the ages, or hopefully it is. I'm really concerned about this KvK, and I hope it lives up to the hype. Please trust me, do not get me wrong. I really hope it lives up to this hype. I'm not trying to be a troll and say that this KvK is not going to be worth it, but are the servers going to be able to handle the amount of players that are going to be within this KvK? We are going to figure that out. We are going to highlight this KvK within this video. Now, part of the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I had asked my buddy Uncle B, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to mention this numerous times later in the video. This is probably the most editing and work I've done, so just bear with me. But I asked my buddy Uncle B from 846 for screenshots of the top, 30 powers within this KvK, and I was shocked to see where the cutoff was, which you guys will see right now. And just like, what the fuck? Like, that's a lot of high powered alliances. And then I was even more mind blown when he told me that, or I had asked him, well, when did like the 7 billion alliances start? And he said like rank 37. So that is what inspired me to do this video. We're going to go in and highlight these, highlight each kingdom and try and figure out just how many players are in this KvK. So let's check it out. All right, so here we are just highlighting the alliances within each zone. So again, the point of this video is to really try and find out just how massive this KvK is. I think a lot of us have a pretty good understanding of the size and scope of this thing. But my real big question for this KvK is ultimately for Lilith. Can your servers sustain the fighting that is going to be happening within these tiny little zones? Okay, so that's why we're trying to get somewhere around the total amount of players within this KvK. So as I was going through, and again, I highlighted each alliance that was within this Lost Kingdom map already. I think I maybe left 1 or 2 screenshots of alliances out, which were maybe like a 3 billion or 2 billion power alliance, which was clearly just a farm. But you could in fact kind of add those in anyway, because those are still accounts and players within this KvK map. It's going to increase the server load because of the amount of players. In addition, the next kingdom that we're going to be highlighting right now, we're on 474. The next kingdom that we are going to highlight, 945, has a ridiculous amount of support alliances within. I'm looking at my notes here, and I believe they have an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have an additional 5 alliances. As you can see here, we're on 945. They have an additional 5 alliances that are not in the KvK map, and all of those alliances are over at least 5 billion. You have one at 5 billion, another at 6.4, and then the other 3 will round out at about 7 billion to 7.5 billion, all having at least 130 members within those alliances. Most of them go upwards of 150. Next, we're on 664, and I believe they only have 1 additional sub-alliance that is not within their KvKs, not within this Lost Kingdom map so far. One of the big reasons of me doing this video as well is, as I was talking to one of my buddies from 846, shout out to Uncle B. He is actually the one who hooked me up with the Alliance top 30 list, and that was another reason why I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this video. It just sparked an idea. That was nutty. I mean, I even asked him too, when do the alliances start to get to like 7 billion power range? Because even at a 7 billion power, you're still an actual alliance, and he said like around rank 37, and that in itself is mind-blowing. And also he had told me that when they dropped into the Lost Kingdom map, they were actually experiencing lag already. So I was like, I have to make this video. Let's try and figure out the total number of players, or roughly around there, of how many players are in this server. So as you can see, we are now on 1093, going to 556 last, and then after that we are going to just kind of give a rough estimate as to how many players are within this KvK. If you guys are enjoying this content, please consider subscribing and slap that like button. It's all totally free, and you can change your mind later. But this was probably one of the heftiest editing videos, as well as background homework videos that I did. And I can actually see here that I got a little bit lazy at the end, and I have to say I re-edited this video like 7 times because my editing software kept going down, so I'm not going to go back and redo that part. Okay, so we just reviewed every zone with every alliance within those zones, as long as they have at least 5 billion power. That was about the minimum that I was willing to kind of let slide. Now there are a few other alliances within those zones that are farm alliances that have a decent amount of accounts on there, but the final number that I'm coming to is a little bit staggering. So let's kind of just detail how I'm coming to this number. So if you go back, and a lot of those screenshots were taken a few days ago, it's taken me a little while to kind of figure out how I wanted to compose this video. So again, the numbers aren't going to be exact. So from what we saw in each alliance from these zones, from all the main alliances, they had around 150 to 157 players per alliance. Okay. Now, in the very beginning of the video, you saw that quick little teaser of the top 30 kingdoms. So we're pretty much just going to base it off of that, because after the top 30 is when you start to have a little bit of the fall off in terms of the alliance powers. And again, I've just come to one number, which I think is alarming enough to say, okay, I think we've done a fair assessment here. So we are going to assume that each of these alliances has 150 players per alliance, okay? Because some have more, some have less. So we're just going to put 150 as the average, times the 30 alliances in the top 30 that our buddy Uncle B sent us, plus just the 5 extra alliances that are chilling in home kingdom for kingdom 945. And shout out to them for doing an amazing job. When I was scanning their kingdom, I couldn't believe how many alliances I was pulling up that were actual alliances. We get a total number of over 5,200 players in this KvK. So Fortnite who? PUBG who? 100 player servers? Are you kidding me? We are rocking in this KvK an amazing 5,200 players, accounts, however you want to state it. These are still going to increase the load on the server. So very unprecedented. This is going to be a massive KvK. I really hope that the servers are able to sustain, especially once the fighting begins. And this also too, guys, you have to think that a lot of these players are going to be maxing tech, which means that they are going to be bringing an additional 2 marches onto the field. This KvK is going to be huge, so stay tuned. We are going to be streaming this. I believe November 11th is when their passes open. Zone 5 fights are going to be beginning, so we are going to be dirty casting this KvK's fights as best we can. And I think we might also have a little bit of commentary from some of our buddies that have been hooking up with some info. So some pretty interesting things coming to the channel. If you guys enjoyed, again, please consider slapping that like button and subscribing down below. This was by far the most work that I've put into a video so far, so anything that you guys can do to support is greatly appreciated. With that, I'm out. Stay tuned, guys. Dirty Dan Gaming, we're bringing a lot to the channel. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace out, y'all. Love you.